All right, today we are here with a touring pro, and I'm gonna get a lesson. Well, he's retired. We are here with Kevin here to do some lessons. We're gonna be doing book work through Golf Is Not a Game of Perfect with by Dr. Bob Rotella.
Yep.
And after that we're gonna go and do some coursework.
Yeah.
And this will take us about 15-20 minutes, and then after that we're gonna go hit some drills and throw some shots.
Yeah, so I'm really lucky I get to do what's called coaching with Eli. And one of the biggest benefits that you can do as a professional athlete is put time into your mental game. And something that I've told Eli is he has the physical ability to be a professional disc golfer, but now he has to train the mental side. And this book is perfect practice for that. In this book, it's called Golf's Not a Game of Perfect, like Eli already said. It literally gives you all the tools that you need to be a successful athlete. And it's nice because it talks mainly about ball golf, but it is hand in hand with disc golf. And Eli and I have been reading through it and just kind of talking about, writing notes and kind of taking down kind of like, I kind of do it from my perspective of how it affects me. And then I try to give Eli the tools so he doesn't go through the same, struggles that I did with the mental side of disc golf. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We have already read the first 2 chapters.
And the introductory.
Yep, exactly. And now we're going to go into chapter 3, which is called Train It and Trust It. Now, typically, we kind of do a little review about his tournaments that he's just played. And I was very fortunate. I got to caddy for him for his last tournament. Do you want to go over that? You can go ahead and tell everybody you won.
Yeah.
You played, I would say, really well golf because you averaged above your rating, and you won.
So overall, round 1 was solid. Made a couple of mistakes that prevented me from shooting over 1,000 rated, and then I was still in first place, tied for first with Titus, and ended up with round 2. I had Kevin on the bag for me with that one. I just felt confident going into that round. I tried to take what I had in this book coming into it, and I played with confidence. My putting game was overall really well.
Really well. Incredible putting.
I would say my approach shots was what kind of was lacking, but I was still making the putts I was leaving myself.
Yeah, that's actually what I want to talk about. Your mental game was incredible. It was actually very, very inspiring. You would throw like a bad shot, and then your next mindset was, I'm going to just do the best with it. And like there was like hole 1, perfect tee shot, and then you had like a 200 foot in, maybe even less.
Yeah.
And you had this little sidearm, and you threw it inside, hit a tree, dropped it to like 33 feet. And you're like, it's fine. My putting's kind of been goated lately. And then you made the putt, and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
and that was actually the theme for the whole day.
Yeah, you said after I threw that shot, it's like, it's okay, it's the first hole.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm gonna make the putt.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, and that's actually kind of the overarching theme of this book, is having confidence, and even if it's unrealistic. Like Eli, I literally believed him. I was like, oh my gosh, calm down a little bit. But no, it was good. It was, no, that is very well inside of my capability, and I'm going to make the putt. And it was really inspiring. But the biggest thing, which I think is really funny, is our lesson before that tournament. I told you, I said, make sure you do all the really easy shots. Make sure you do that to the best of your ability. You struggled with your up shots. And you know what's funny is I actually think it's an easier fix than what you were doing. You were taking your straight zone and trying to like finesse hyzers.
Yeah.
Versus I think you should have just taken your overstable zone and just freaking threw it normal and just let the disc do the work. And I think the crazy thing is your putting was so unbelievable that it was like, it didn't really matter. Which is, it's a good and a bad thing. It's great that your putting was unreal.
Yeah.
It's bad that it didn't showcase how bad your up shots were. Like I was like, dang, I wish he would, like not wish he would, but if you had missed some of those, I think it would have redefined your focus, being like, yeah, I do need to have better up shots. Yeah. So the training that we're going to do today is actually just a lot of scramble stuff. And it's even just like 200-foot sidearm approaches in. I want you to throw those better so that your putts you don't have to be so demanding on the putting green.
Yes.
But honestly, dude, holy Moses, what a great putting performance you had.
I think that what I'd like to see it become is my putting is at the point it was, but I want to see more opportunities from off the tee for birdie, and then overall not having to make myself work as hard, because I'm not going to putt I'm not gonna putt that great every single time I go out there. I do not want to have to make myself work that hard.
Yeah, and the funny thing too is, I feel like towards the end of the round, your driving, like the last 9 holes, your driving was unbelievable. And your putting was great too. Like those last 9 holes, you played phenomenal. And then the front 9, your driving was barely off, but it was good to see that you were like, I'm just trying to get back to committing. And then your up shots were bad, but your putting was so good that it kept you in the game. So yeah, it was actually very promising. It showed potential is what I'm excited about. So yeah, so now we're going to go through chapter 3, which is called Train It and Trust It. What I do is I kind of pre-read the chapter, and Eli just got this book today, so the next lesson we're doing is I'm going to have you read the chapter, so we're going to be on chapter 5 next lesson.
Yep.
And you're just going to highlight things that relate to you, which is what I've kind of done already, is I read these chapters and I have highlighted things I just want to talk to you about. So the first thing, so the chapter's name is Train It and Trust It. The first paragraph I'm going to highlight is, but pro or amateur, whatever their specific concerns are, they all know one thing. They are better players than they're showing on the golf course and in tournaments. So let's kind of just relate that right now. You had crazy potential those rounds. And you are literally, it's hard to do this, but to show your potential during a round, it's very rare. But you have to know, and this is the overarching theme of this book, that you are that good. And that in this chapter especially, it's good to almost acknowledge, like, yeah, I am really good, and then you have to forget the mechanical side of it. You have to forget, like, hey, this is how my arm goes through, this is how my arm releases, this is where the disc is going to be. You've done the training aspect. Now you have to forget that, and now you go through a feeling. So, like, you walk up to a hole, you envision your shot, and then you literally, what you execute is the feeling of throwing a hyzer on 10 feet of, throwing up a hill or down. So, and then the next thing I'm going to highlight is consider the baseball pitcher Greg Maddux. I don't know why I said it like that, but I said it like that. Of the Atlanta Braves tells me that he pitches best when he virtually forgets about the batter and thinks only about the place he intends his pitch to go. Yeah, man, I feel like that's so. Another thing that we've talked about in other chapters is what's called flow state. Every athlete is trying to get to flow state. And Eli's been in flow state. We've talked about that. You shot a 13 down, 1060 plus rated round.
Yeah.
And over that course, you can actually tell the camera.
Yeah.
You weren't thinking. You were just executing.
Yes. So I had this weird feeling where I knew I was going to come up and birdie next hole. I knew that I was going to play well. I could think about the score, but it never bothered me what I was at. I knew that I was just going to do it. I was playing. My game felt so good that I just knew that I was going to birdie the next one and keep birdieing on. Yeah, and
I think that this little paragraph here is kind of perfect. Is like, you kind of forget about the situation you're in. So like in your example, it was kind of like the score. Like you don't, like you know what you're at, but you don't really think about it. The only thing you're thinking about is the target and the gap you're trying to hit. And yeah, man, I think that overthinking is something that happens all too often. It's very easy to do. Like the mental side of disc golf is so easy to not be disciplined in. Like you can think about, wow, I've just birdied 6 in a row. There's like no chance that I'm going to birdie the next one. And yeah, it's literally a huge process. And like I can't say it enough. The overarching theme is being super confident and then trusting in your ability. And confidence and trust kind of go hand in hand, which this is a really, really good chapter because of that. One of the notes that I wrote down next to my kind of the next paragraph that we're going to read through is clear your mind, stop overthinking shots. So let's read this next paragraph, which is consider the free throw. As with the tee shot in a golf, nearly everything, the ball, the height of the basket, the distance, is constant, except the movement of the athlete. If you watch the best free throw shooters, you will notice 2 things. First, they have routines that they follow on every shot. I underline that. That's something that we've also talked about. But routines are so important. Literally, I feel like sometimes when I'm super nervous on a disc golf course, all I focus on is my routine. When I use my ace bag, shout out, little promo there. If I use my ace bag, I do a practice putt, ace bag again, and then I putt.
Yeah.
Tee shot's almost identical. I envision it, I do like a practice swing, chalk up, another practice swing, chalk up, and then I throw. And I try not to overthink a routine, but when I'm in a high stress situation, instead of thinking about the gravity of the situation, I actually just lean into my routine. Which, when you lean into your routine, now you're not really thinking about, I have to birdie or I have to make this putt. you're really just thinking about the you yourself. You're focusing on the routine, so it makes the overarching picture not as daunting. The next chapter the next little paragraph I'm going to read is, they focus on small pieces of the rim. They let the shot go without giving much thought, if any, thought to such things as the angle formed by the right elbow or at the point of the release. That goes to kind of like a mechanical thing that I talked about earlier. Your goal isn't to, like, even mid-round, be like, wow, my timing feels terrible.
Yeah.
I like to tell people, and this is in the book as well, throw confidently. Sometimes all you have to do is throw harder. Like, really commit to the shot, disc down, and then just rip into it so that you can commit to it. And don't try to think about a mechanical thing in the middle of a round. He talks about that too. Maybe not in this chapter, it's gonna be in the next chapter. But when you go to the course, what the game that you brought to the course that day, you have to score with that game. It's gonna be a little different every time. So, like, to think about the mechanical side, that's for off the course. That is for after you're done with your tournament round. All right, go back to the field, go back to the net, and figure out what was off that day. But the day of, that's the game that you've brought. You just have to bring the best mentality to it. The next thing that it actually talks about is talking about kind of like the gravity of a situation. And it's really interesting to me, and I actually really like this chapter. It talks about a balance beam. And if they put the balance beam on the ground, and you were to tell everybody, like, all right, just walk across it, you could walk across it without any problem, because it's on the ground. But now if you were to mount that balance beam literally 40, 50 feet up in the air, you introduce fear of falling. The goal itself hasn't changed, but because you've introduced fear, now it allows doubt to, like, creep in, and your ability to perform changes. So what I like to think about is, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, balance beam 40 feet up in the air, you could break a leg. That would suck. But in disc golf, it's just a game. At the end of the day, you're going to play another tournament. At the end of the day, you're going to miss more putts. So the fear aspect of it, you have to almost put it in a big picture and remember that there is other stuff outside of disc golf, and the future of your career is going to be fine. So the best thing you can do is almost acknowledge the fear, which is it's not the end of the world, and then just try to execute.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm doing all the talking. What are you thinking through?
I mean, I almost want to go back to the point, or was it the talking about the difference between a pro and an amateur, where it's literally, I feel like so many amateurs are fully capable of what a lot of pros do. It's just about the mental side, where they get to a point where they, like, just where you talking about the balance beam, where the fear factor, where you bring in fear factor, and that's where amateurs collapse.
Yeah.
Pros do not accept the fear factor, and it's the same goal, just 40, 50 feet in the air.
Exactly. Yeah. You can relate to that, can't you? Because you have, and this is what I want you to know, is you have the same ability as me. If not, maybe a little bit better, even though I can throw way farther than you. That's an inside joke. He thinks he can throw farther than me. That's not even, come on now. But we have the same ability. The difference is literally just in the mindset. I believe I'm going to win a tournament when I play it. And you have to have that same belief. So, like, this coming Sunday when we're playing that tournament together, I already know I'm going to beat you. But you have to think that you're already going to beat me. And then you just go out and you execute. You can't have that fear of, oh, like, I get behind 2 or 3 strokes to me, which is going to happen. No, I'm just kidding. But you can't have that thought process. You have to think, I'm going to play my game. There's no, like, repercussion of me beating you. You just have to play your game, and you have to put your best shot forward each and every time. Yeah. Which, dude, very hard to do. But
me and my dad were talking to each other on the car ride here, and we were like, my dad was like, so Eli, do you think you can win this Sunday coming up here? And I was like, I know I can win.
Yeah, exactly.
I know I can win. It's up to me.
Yeah.
It's up to me, and whether I think this is great what we're talking about here, which is it's the same thing, but 40, 50 feet in the air.
Exactly.
Yep. You can't have the stakes in mind. You just gotta get into flow state where you're not thinking about anything and you're just throwing and trusting.
Yep. And the best athletes on tour, the reason why they're so good is they're very good at getting into flow state. They're really good at not having fear and trusting their process and trusting their
That's why
their
Gannon's
mechanics.
the best player in the world right now.
His mental game is actually unbelievable. It's so good. It is. You talk to him, it's just leaks confidence, and it's and he's also another thing too, which we've talked about. He's not goal orientated at all. Like he goes to a course and he wants to win, but that's not his goal. His goal is to throw confidently. His goal is to execute what he knows he's capable of. And that's the standards that he lives by. And then what ends up happening is he wins when he does that. And he wins by like 5 or 6. And much of the same way, a golfer who fears failure, as most amateurs and many professionals do, at least some of the time, tends to think about how he takes the club back, how far he turns it, how he cocks his wrist, how he starts the downswing, other swing mechanics. Inevitably, he will tend to lose whatever grace and rhythm nature has endowed to him, which leads to inconsistent shot making with every club, from the driver to the putter. We talked about this a little bit, about the head control, right? How if you try to look at your shot, this is a mechanical thing. If you try to look at your shot, your armpit will collapse and then you go into rounding. Something in baseball is called looking at third base. So when a pitcher goes to throw, in order for them to not collapse into their throw, they look at third base. And what that does is it actually does 2 things. It clears their mind, and then it makes their head stay back so that their next throw is in the mechanical swing, and then it also allows them to just execute what they're envisioning. Which in disc golf, what we do is we literally just think, keep our head to our back shoulder. So we reach back, and then we don't move our head until this back shoulder comes forward. And I think it's so perfect to think about that, because the more you think about mechanical things, the more you're going to get in trouble, which is what that whole paragraph was about. So the best thing you can do is like clear your mind and literally just think about what it's a feel thing that you're kind of going after here. So you cannot hit a golf ball consistently well if you think about the mechanics of your swing as you play. And that's something I talked about earlier. Don't think about the mechanics, think about the swing that you brought that day and how you can confidently execute. And then this whole chapter is trust it, or train it and trust it. That's what we're doing. Yep. You've done the training, now you just need to trust it. We are endowed with the most marvelous computer system imaginable, and it is wired to maximize physical performance and grace if a person simply looks at the target and reacts to it, which is what we do. We look at our gap and we react to it. Sweet. A golfer must train his swing and then trust it. The overarching theme of this chapter. And then I respond that I have seen lots of high handicappers with lots of kinks in their swing, but I almost never see one who improves his play by doubting himself, dwelling on mechanics, or trying to correct a swing flaw in the middle of a round. The fact is, most amateurs don't know exactly what breaks down when they swing badly. If they try to correct their swing, they usually wind up compounding the error. Again, in the middle of a round, you brought your swing there. This is the swing you're using. Don't overthink it. I think actually the best thing you can do is 2 things. Slow it down, or throw it really confidently, which means usually throwing it hard. I can't remember more than a few times when a winning player has told me he or she hit the ball really well for more than 2 or 4 days of a tournament. So man, that actually relates to me a lot. Sometimes when I think of players when they went on the pro tour, is I think that they played great all 4 rounds. That's not the case. They shoot a hot round maybe twice a round. Even Gannon, actually look at his worlds that he won last year, his first world championship. He didn't shoot a hot round 1 round. Isn't that crazy to think? He didn't shoot the hot round a single round of a 5-round tournament, and he won the tournament. If you put the pressure on yourself to shoot a hot round every single round so that you can win, that's not realistic. It's not realistic even for the best player in the world to win the most prestigious tournament of the year. So I think something that I wrote down is you aren't going to shoot hot every round. Stay patient. Another overarching theme of this book is staying patient. So winners learn to accept the swing that they bring to the golf course on any given day and just score with it. This is something the book does really well, which I really like, is it uses an example of real life players during real life rounds. And it talks about how he couldn't trust his drivers in one of these rounds, and he still went on to shoot the hot round. And early on in the round, he hit a shot with a driver on a really open par 4, and he shanked it into the woods. And then the very next hole, same thing. Open par 4, shanks it in the woods with his driver. So then he chose, for the rest of the round, he was just going to play it with his irons, and he shot the hot round. Wow. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. If you are scoring really well with a 9-speed or a 7-speed, literally allow yourself to put a little bit more pressure on the next shot to keep this shot in play. That's something that Kristen Lott actually says a lot, is keep the disc in play no matter what. So if you feel like you're going to throw it OB with a distance driver, but you know, like you're almost positive or very certain that you're going to keep it in play with a fairway, disc down. Or even out here, I feel like I throw a lot of fairway shots. That's almost because fairways are the best part of my game. I know I can make it easier on my putting and my approaching if I go distance driver, but I'd rather just keep it in play.
Yeah, I mean, for me, even out on hole 15 out here, the par 5, I throw a mid-range off the tee just trying to keep it in play.
Yep.
Because I know that there's still a lot more down there. I'd rather keep it in play than throw a distance driver and get more distance and go left or right.
And that's such a mature thing that a lot of people just don't do. A lot of people just go, oh, par 4, distance driver. And it's so much easier to keep it in play and keep it in play the entire hole than to throw it in the woods way down there, pitch out, throw it in the woods, pitch out, get your bogey. Trusting is not instinctive or easy for most golfers. They experience it only sporadically. Maybe they have a club that gives them such a feeling of confidence that they can trust their swing when they use it. They get better results with the club because trust allows them to swing decisively and fluidly. So we just talked about, like, you know, if you're playing better with fairways. I trust my fairways so much better, henceforth I have so much more confidence with them.
Yes.
So, yeah. When great athletes stop trusting, they stop being great. And then my last but not least, I'm just going to kind of read over my thoughts for this chapter, which is something you're going to be doing going forward, is kind of writing down kind of how this personally relates to your disc golf game, right? So not overthinking my swing and trusting the feeling of the throw. I also need to have a more concrete routine. Trust equals confidence. Don't panic if the swing that day is off. Throw what is comfortable and trust your body. Your body knows what it's doing. You were made incredibly by God, and you have the ability. God has given you the ability to play and be a great disc golfer. Trust in his creation, literally execute, and yeah, just be confident with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. This was a nice little way to try and help with my game, the mental side and physically. So I think that overall this was a success, and
Yeah, man.
I thank you for coming out here and doing this with me. And this was a very fun video to make. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
That was great. You're natural, dude. That was incredible. Nice. Uh-oh. Well, that's going to be in the intro.